To the Druids, it was a sign of the weevil.
Druids, otherwise known as adders.
Oh, yes.
It's fascinating you mentioned weave, because the Hebrews used to write in a particular way, which they called the weave too.
That's right.
And which they related to the serpent.
Yeah.
So the two cultures there seem to cross.
But you've always got this cross-fertilisation. And you've got 2 or 3 different things coming into play here. I mean, Joe Campbell's work on the mythology of different peoples who've been separated in time and space very considerably, who come to, broadly speaking, the same conclusions, and with very, very similar mythologies about creation.
But if these symbols come from archetypes within our mind, then it's perfectly possible, isn't it, that they could have erupted separately?
I don't think it's possible. I think it's a matter of fact. Okay. I don't think this is a possibility to be considered. It's an observable matter of fact. Every culture has its own similar mythology, ascribing various gifts, such as contemplation and so forth, to divine providence. But where this started to formalise into symbolism in a big time, of course, is in Egypt.
Yeah.
In ancient Egypt, we had symbol. Even the writing was symbolic, but they carry meanings which are subliminal,
right,
which you're not aware of perceiving until perhaps long afterwards, or after repeated viewing. They carry their own message. And they claimed, the ancient Egyptians claimed, that on the initiatory path you were taught things that could not be transmitted in words. And symbols do just that.
Yes.
I mean, I can describe the meaning of symbolism until I'm blue in the bloody face. And it's actually missing the whole point. The point of my description is to get you to go and experience it for yourself. Yeah. Now please note I say experience, not merely look at.
Yeah.
Because it will have a very profound effect on you if it is a true symbol.
Yeah. Now symbols as pictoglyphs, hieroglyphs, images on stone. Can symbols also be in textual form and in building form?
Oh yes, very much so. Newgrange is a case in point. Now, if you go back to the cave paintings, they were always at the most profound depths of the cave, at the points of maximum resonance. You move on to the Neolithic era to Maze High or to Newgrange, and you will find large standing stones within the corridors which perform no architectural function whatsoever.
Right.
They're there as sound baffles to amplify sound at a certain place. Go to the great chambers in the pyramids, the King's Chamber. It is actually built on a ridged foundation, so it rings like a bell when you walk across it. It maximizes the resonance, and the roof structure is designed to enhance that. So architecturally, you have a way of enhancing natural energy, i.e. sound.
Sound. So sound is another symbol.
Sound is another symbol. And Egyptian temples, we know as a matter of record, were charged by chanting.
Okay.
And there are many places in Europe today where you can go into a medieval church building, and if you're lucky you will find a flagstone inscribed with the Latin phrase canto hic.
Yes.
Sing here. You try it. You're at the place of maximum resonance and perfect acoustics, and your voice will carry throughout the church, whether you speak or whether you sing.
Right.
Sound, energy in the form of sound or light or just earth energy is of immense importance. And all the sacred sites of this world that were built much before the 14th century are on places of earth energy. About 30 or 40 years ago, the Catholic Church, in its infinite wisdom, abolished the old Tridentine Mass, which used to be chanted in Latin, and brought their services into the vernacular of whatever country they were.
Right.
There were a bunch of monks in central France who used to chant their office, Gregorian chant, in Latin, now had to sing it in French. After a very short period of time, a matter of a couple of years, they started to notice a big uplift in the mental problems experienced by those monks. Somebody had a moment of insight and went back to the old Gregorian Latin chant, and the health levels returned to normal.
Incredible.
That's one aspect of it. Morton Smith, who discovered part of the Lost Gospel of Mark at Nashoba Monastery, when he first visited it as a student in Israel, the monastery was run by Orthodox monks by candlelight, and they had the Greek chant, unaccompanied but beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
And the combination of the sound of the Greek chant and the flickering candlelight, another form of energy, was transformative. There was a shift in consciousness that Morton Smith recorded and noted.
Yeah.
He went back there 40 years later and they were using electric light in it. So sound and light are of vital importance. And of course sound and light in any sacred space, whether you're talking about Neolithic times or modern day, are a product of architecture and design. So you have that aspect of it. Architecture can also act as an amplifier for earth energies.
Yeah.
So you have that aspect.
Which are equated to the serpent.
Yes. Back to the weaver again.
Yeah.
So you've got all those aspects of it. And then you have the actual shape and form of the building itself, which takes on symbolic significance.
Are we talking sacred geometry?
Yes, you are talking sacred geometry, and the best person whose work you should consult on this is a lovely man, Keith Critchlow, who now lives down in Devon, who's done some wonderful work, and God bless him, he has gone through every faith known to mankind and left a building worth examining. And the continuity of ideas that come through, although they take different forms in different cultures, the things that these ancient people were aiming at were always the same. To maximize the natural energies that come from God to bring us closer to God. Blanche Mertz did some lovely work on Chartres Cathedral about the wavelengths of light as transmitted through the stained glass. Now the stained glass at Chartres is different from the stained glass in any other cathedral in the world. It was only made to that quality for a very brief period of time. And in 30 years the cathedral was being built. And then the whole quality changed. And according to Mertz, and who am I to doubt her words, that only filters through the wavelengths that are beneficial to transformative change, to a shift in consciousness. So at Chartres, which is the perfect place to go, you have an amplification of the earth energies, which are enormous, which has been artificially aided by creation of artificial rivers under the cathedral, which are a 7-branched set of streams joining one.
7 branched.
Yes, the magical word of 7 again.
There's also a wonderful labyrinth there.
Yes, you've got the labyrinth there. You've got the Christian symbolism of the cruciate form of the church. You have the engrailed cross represented because of the buttresses, the same engrailed cross used by the Sinclairs of Rosslyn.
Yeah.
And you also have the sound amplification from the architecture itself, plus the fact that you could find the glory of God in the perfection of number, measure and weight. So the proportions are superb.
This perfect connection of the human person
to the
form
divine.
To the divine.
Yes.
On earth.
Yes. And it gives you...
It's kind of like a gateway to heaven then.
Yes. That's exactly what it is. And you go to Chartres today and you'll find it crowded with tourists. And it doesn't matter a damn if they're Christian of whatever denomination, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, or no religion at all. They all come away uplifted.
Right.
Because it is the universal application of symbolism in the grand scale.
And yet, This is a wonderful holistic healing you're talking about.
Yes, but it's healing of a totally different nature.
It's on a many level.
It's multi-leveled, and it's a healing of the soul.
So maybe we should build hospitals in the same sacred geometry.
Similar things are done.
Really?
In India. Yes. I suggest that anybody interested in that study the hospitals attached to the Sai Baba Institute in India. And they will get some rather pleasant surprises. Their success in heart surgery exceeds the Western world quite appreciably. It's a discernible difference. And that's a combination of spirituality and modern science. Don't forget that spirituality and science had a common root in ancient Greece.
Well, it seems to only be us that like to split things into little boxes.
Yes, well, Cartesian thinking. See, this is the whole point about symbolism. Modern Cartesian scientific thinking splits things down to its smaller parts and somehow loses the entire picture. Symbolism encompasses far more than its pictorial content. It radiates its own energy. It strikes a chord within your soul.
Yeah.
I wrote a book a few years ago called Rosslyn Chapel.